Do 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 do. Oh, hi there, everybody. I oh, I I didn't realize you were already here. Uh, let's see. Welcome to my new lab at Spirit University. It still has that new lab smell. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out if there was room in my new laboratory for more microscopes. I could always use more microscopes. I was thinking about getting a scanning electron microscope, but I think I will need to make some space first. Okay, let's see. I am Dr. Akamo. My really close friends, they just call me Red. Yeah, but you're all students, so I'm afraid you're gonna have to call me Dr. Mo. For now. Let's see. I was asked by Miss B to say a little something about my height. Um, I don't I don't know why. She always seems so concerned about height for some reason. I guess it's because we're both tall for humans. Yeah. Let's see. I'm 187 centimeters tall if you don't count the tops of my ears. Um, yeah. Sorry about that. Around the lab here, we only use metric measurements. We are scientists. So I know it's your first day here in class, but so if you're not used to metric, that's fine. Let's see, that makes me something like 6'2", I think, in standard measurements. Let's see. So I'm a scientist, of course. You can tell by, I'd say, the lab coat. And I really like to study very, very small living things. That's sort of what I specialize in. And don't worry, Miss B. I also like to study some of the very big things too. It's not always just the little things. But I am fascinated by the invisible world. That's basically all around us. That people never really sort of notice. And as a scientist, I'm really fascinated by it. There's really just so much to it, and you know, it's like nobody notices it. So we might walk right past it, or let's say swim by it, or I don't know. I guess even eat it sometimes. I guess I won't judge. So I really enjoy revealing this invisible world to students. It's what I really enjoy. I love teaching, and I love really bringing the idea of all these little things to our world so that you can see them. It makes me very happy. I also love taking pictures of them. I love taking pictures. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like to go out on hikes. I like to go out into nature, and I love scenery, and especially love all of the organisms that are out there in the world. And let's see. I'm hoping that as the semester goes along, you will come to enjoy the tiny worlds that we'll explore together. So let's see. I was told to tell you a little bit about me and, like where I came from and that sort of thing. When I was a lot younger than right now, I was wandering around in the foothills of the Himalaya mountains. Those are my earliest memories. I I don't know what I was doing there, but it was an amazing place, and I just wandered around in the woods and I saw things. There were so many interesting things to see there, and well, one day I bumbled into some humans. I mean, or scientists. Yeah, they were scientists, and they were like me. They were very curious about all of the things in the bamboo forests and all the creatures that live there. You know, they were studying all of them, and they seemed to be very interested in me for some reason, and I don't know why. But they were also very, very friendly. You know, scientists are a pretty friendly group, and especially when they find something new, they tend to get very excited about it. So, if you can believe this, they offered to take me back with them to the United States, and they let me live in their lab. And for many, many years, I lived in their lab, and they showed me all of their scientific instruments. Some of them, they gave me some personalized experience with them to show me how it worked. And for many years, I stayed there with them, sort of exploring things, learning science, and there's sort of endlessly curious things that they would bring back to the lab. And well, eventually, I learned from them how to become a human. I, I mean, a scientist. I learned to become a scientist. I mean, and I used my natural curiosity, and I used the sort of experiences that I learned from them, and I explored the world around me, and I learned about rocks and about lakes and about all of the curious things that lived in them. And eventually they gave me some advanced degrees in these natural sciences. And, that's how I became a professor. So, really, like nature is my favorite part of science, obviously. I mean, how it all fits together, how it works. That's what the world's about. And I'm hoping that I can share some of that with you this semester. I really loved being able to go out and explore, to go out into the world and dig around in the sediments, find some interesting bugs. We would go out on boat rides. We'd collect stuff from the water. All of these things, they're endlessly curious. And sometimes I have a bad habit of kind of just taking off and disappearing into the woods for a while. You might remember from a couple of weeks ago, we were supposed to be doing our introductions for the university, for Spirit University on Twitter, and I guess I went for a bit of a hike in the woods, and nobody knew where I was, and I kind of forgot to record the videos that we were supposed to do. Let's just say that Miss B had a hard time finding me because I should have been there, and I didn't realize what time it was, and she had to go out into the woods. And let me just say this: I'm just going to lay this out there, Miss B. You really need to invest in some more appropriate hiking attire, like the stuff that you wore out there. I don't think that's safe to come looking in the woods for a person. I just think that's a bad model. I mean, going forward, maybe think about it. Okay, so yes, there's always something new and unknown, and something magical about the world around us. And it's magic, but it isn't magic at all, really. It's science, and science is kind of my thing, right? I get very, very excited about science. But this is how I came to understand the world around me, a world of wondrous creatures, both monstrous and sometimes miniature. It's an endless source of wonder. And I'm hoping that now that I have this new job as a professor at Spirit University, that I can share some of this fascinating world with you. And that's what our plan is for this semester. We do whatever it is that I find curious, or maybe that you ask me to look into. we're not going to limit ourselves to anything. And here's the best part: we can learn together. If there's something that I don't know about, I'm bound to be curious about how it works. And, well, doesn't that sound amazing? Well, I hope so. Okay, so, yes, this is, let's see, it's supposed to be a introduction of sorts. And, yeah, so Miss B asked if I could do a short discussion about the things that I like and the things that I dislike, so that you can get to know me as a professor here. And, well, I watched all of the introductions of my fellow faculty here at Spirit University, and I thought they did a great job. You should watch their videos if you haven't already seen it. They were all so warm and so welcoming to all of our new students. And, well, so I tried to put together a list of things that I like. And, well, I'd have to admit, I didn't really know where to start with this part, because there's just so many things that I really love about the natural world, and I don't know how do you put them in a list. So anyway, when I was done putting my list together, I noticed that my list doesn't look much like the other faculty's list. Not really at all, in a lot of ways. I mean, Aki is, she's some sort of an android, right? And, well, Tane, she's a succubus or something. And Miss B is a human. Miss B and I are both humans. So I guess we should all like different kinds of things, right? That only makes sense. And my interests lie mostly with the natural world. So I thought that since that I like so many things, that it might be easier for me to just start with a list of things that I don't like, and I'll give you those. Those are pretty easy for me to come up with. It's a pretty short list. It's much easier, and well, this isn't in any sort of order. I'm not like things that I like the least to things that I like the most or anything. But it's a list of things that I don't like. First off, and probably most important for you as students, grading. I despise grading. It's got to be like a terrible burden on me to sit and read through all of the answers that students give. A lot of times I just feel, well, maybe they weren't paying attention when I started talking or something. But who could blame them, right? Let's see. So for my class this semester, there will be no assignments, no homework, and no exams. Welcome to Spirit University, where we don't grade stuff, I guess. You get a break from all of that busy work, and I get a break from grading. I think that's win-win, wouldn't you say? Let's see. My second thing on a list of things that I don't like are meetings. I never liked meetings, honestly. I didn't think that I would like anything less than grading. When I became a professor, I thought, ugh, grading, ugh. But meetings are worse. Meetings are easily the worst part about being a professor. It's unbearable for me to sit there in front of a screen and listen to somebody yammer on. They're always talking, and they just go on way too long. And it makes it hard for me to think about fun things like science or research or whatever I'm interested in at the moment that isn't the meeting that I'm in. And then when it's over, I never even feel like anything useful happened. That's what meetings are like for me. And at my previous job, when they asked me if I wanted to become a dean or something, because I guess I was responsible, gross. You know what that would mean? That would mean I would have to do even more meetings. And this time, instead of just being fellow faculty, they would be angry faculty and disappointed students and their parents. Well, that's not for me. I'm sorry. I don't even care if they want to pay me more money for that. It's just not worth it. I would much rather be outside. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. The third thing that I dislike in this list, geese. Yeah, you heard me, geese. I don't know what's up with them. They're just mean, and they poop everywhere. And I know they're pretty. I mean, at times they can be sort of amazing, but they kind of remind me of one of my old girlfriends back in the laboratory when I first got to the U.S. I don't know, geese. What are you gonna do? All right. Last thing on the list. I only put four things on the list, and here comes the last one: single-use plastics. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're out there drinking out of a bottle of soda right now, I don't mean to get on a soapbox on the first day of class. I know you don't even have a syllabus yet, and I'm already starting to rant about how bad single-use plastics are for the environment. Seriously, though, reduce your use of plastics if you can. You know what? I don't want people to destroy the earth. It's where I keep all of my stuff. Okay, so that's it for the dislikes, anyhow. The top four, anyway. But somehow geese made the top four? Okay, maybe I need to think about this list a little bit more. Okay, well, anyhow, when I was young, back in the Himalayas, sometimes I used to hang around at the edge of a temple full of humans. Monks. And I would watch them meditate. It looked really interesting to me. They would just sit there in the peace and clear their minds, and they would focus, and they would pull all of their thoughts together from deep in their memories. And I practiced doing this myself, just by watching what they were doing, and for many, 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 many years, until I got very, very good at it. And what I would do is I would go into a meditative state, close my eyes, and I'd focus, and I would create a perfect image in my mind of something that I'd seen in the past. And I found also that if people around me were also focused in a similar way, that I could share these images with them. Like what I saw in my mind, they would see in their mind. So instead of just listing out things for you that I like some of my favorite things, I told you there's many, but some of them, I thought we could try to do a little meditation exercise together. I will think of something that I really, really love, and then we can all clear our minds, and we will focus, and what's in my mind should appear in your mind too. Are you ready? Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Take a deep breath. That's the first step. Always take a deep breath first. Okay, now relax. We're going to start with something very easy. You won't feel a thing. Okay, we all know what the moon looks like, right? It's that big thing in the sky at night, sometimes in the day. Kind of round and bright. I love the moon. It's one of my favorite things. And it isn't even on Earth, and I've never even been there. But I love the moon. We all know what the moon looks like, though, right? So this is just an exercise. We're going to get you to try to clear your minds and focus and think about the moon. Yes. Focus. Keep focusing. And did it work? Oh, oh, it is working. It worked. Oh, I'm so excited. I had no idea if that was actually going to work or not. Okay, yeah, good. As long as we're sort of working on this, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the moon, okay? I know you may be tuned in to hear me talk about biology, but I also care about other things in science. And did you know that the moon's surface is it's mostly made of a rock known as basalt, and basalt is a type of rock that forms deep in our ocean basins on Earth as well. In fact, all of our ocean basins basically have basalt in them. And some of our volcanoes on planet Earth are made from basalt, just like the moon. And if you look closely at the surface of the moon, it's covered with past volcanic eruptions. You could just take a look at it right there, and you can see there's all these dark patches on it, splotchy patches, if you will. It's also covered with these cool craters and stuff. You can see those, right? Like up close. That's from when things bumped into it, like sort of moving super fast and hit the surface with a giant impact. Okay, so here's something else about the moon. As long as we're talking about it, it looks very big to us, right? Like when we look up in the sky, it looks pretty big. Our moon, our moon's name is Luna. I don't know if you knew that. We just call it the moon usually, but it actually is a name, and it's actually the 5th largest moon in our solar system. In other words, while it looks quite big to us, there's other moons that are actually much larger. But just thinking about the size, have you ever think about how the sun and the moon, they're like almost the same size, like a parent size in the sky. I mean, obviously they're not the same size. I mean, we're scientists here, but if you look up at the sky, the sun and the moon are kind of appear to be roughly the same size, but they're very different sized objects, and they are at very, very different distances from planet Earth. Well, okay, maybe that's a topic for one of our future science lessons, so we can stop focusing on the moon just for a minute here. And oh yes, that's better. And let's try it with something else, right? Let's see. Yeah, I made a list. Oh yeah, mountains. I love mountains. My favorite mountain on Earth is, probably naturally, I should say, Mount Everest. Seeing pictures of Mount Everest always reminds me of when I was a youngster roaming those woods in the Himalayas. And it reminds me of home, my early home. And well, let's try and clear our minds again. I don't know, maybe you don't know what Mount Everest looks like, but I have a very, very clear view in my mind of what it used to look like. So we'll start again. Take a deep breath. Focus. And let's see if we could make this work. Oh yes. There it is. It's Mount Everest. It worked. I love this. I really love this. You know what the best part is? No text, just pictures. It's like being in a book and having it read to you. Okay, here's some cool facts. As long as we have Mount Everest right here in front of us, most people think that Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. But I have news for you. It's not. Yes, technically, it's the second tallest. it's only the highest mountain above sea level. The tallest mountain in the world is actually in Hawaii. It's Mauna Kea, and it is about 10,210 meters above the surface of the earth, whereas Mount Everest is only 8,844 meters above the surface of the earth. That's because we measure mountains from the base to the top. It just happens that the base of this mountain is deep below the sea. So, all right, Mount Everest, I know it's the second tallest mountain in the world, but it actually formed when two continental plates collided. And the surface of the earth, it got pushed upward very, very far. And I have news for you. You may not have been paying attention, but this process is still going on. It didn't stop. Anytime long, long ago till now, it's still going on. And every year, Mount Everest gets a little taller. Only by about 4 millimeters, though. So keep it up, big guy. Maybe one day you can truly become the tallest mountain on Earth. But at this rate, Mount Everest wouldn't be the tallest mountain until, let's see. Well, maybe, yeah. Let's save this math lesson for one of Miss B's classes, right? We have two different elevations. We know the distance and roughly how much time it takes that it's growing. And we'll just save it. And maybe Miss B can explain it to you because, we're not doing math in this class. We're just focusing on the science. Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's try a few more of my favorite things. Okay. Are you guys ready for this one? Okay. This is going to be great. I'm so excited to show you guys this stuff. Let's see. Clear your minds, and I'm going to think about a thing, and just like before, right? Totally the same as before. You focus. Take a deep breath. And then, okay. It doesn't seem like that worked. Guys? This is embarrassing. So maybe somebody out there is just not clearing your minds enough. I know life is busy. You're very distracted. But we're in class now, so I want you to try and focus. Let's go. Let's take our deep breath once again. Are you ready? I don't think this is working. You guys aren't seeing it in your minds, are you? Oh wait. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah. I keep forgetting. Okay. One second. Hang on, class. Just 1 second. Hit it. 10A. 10A. I know you don't like bugs, but these bugs are very cool. And look, you're making it difficult for my debut. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I forgot. 10A hates bugs. And so whenever I try to do this with the bugs, she just starts doing that weird thing where the air gets all charged up looking, and it's not good. So yeah, she hates them. And I don't know why. I mean, I find most bugs to be fascinating, and some of them even taste kind of good. I mean, not like bamboo good. Like, I wouldn't want them in my green curry or anything. Okay, anyhow, yeah, now that we have that out of the way, and I think maybe Tane's going to stop ruining my debut here. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, everybody just calm yourselves down, and let's focus. Everybody can take a deep breath, and let's just see if I can get this to work. Oh, finally. Okay, yeah, now it worked. Let's see. So this is one of my favorite bugs. This here is the 12 spotted skimmer. It's a dragonfly, And, in science, we give things special scientific names. And the science name for this one is Libellula pulchella. And it kind of rhymes. It makes it easy to remember. And the species name is pulchella. And, okay, don't tell Tane, but I'm going to give you a little language lesson about bugs. And pulchella is Latin. And do you know what it means? It means beautiful. And this is certainly a beautiful dragonfly. It's one of my favorites. It's a very large dragonfly. And when it flies, the spots on its wings make it look even bigger. Perhaps that's a way that it defends itself against things. Also, the 12-spotted skimmer is very territorial. Like, even compared to other dragonflies, it's even more territorial. It will patrol an area around the margin of a lake. And, well, one nice thing about dragonflies is, well, they eat mosquitoes. And they're totally harmless to people. So, I don't know. I think they probably, maybe Tana needs to let them into her heart. Anyhow, I can't wait until summer is back and we can spend a little bit of time walking around ponds and looking at dragonflies, probably together. I know, it sounds crazy, but I think we can do it. Oh, something else I wanted to tell you about the 12-spotted skimmer. Most other dragonflies also do this. They express something called sexual dimorphism. And, well, that's just a fancy way of saying that the males and the females look very different from each other. And the males of this species have these flashy white spots that you can see up there. But the females have sort of like a brownish color, and their wings are clearer. They don't have the spots present. Okay, well, I don't want to ruin the surprise of all of my lectures on the first day. But probably, as you can tell, I like to collect these sorts of images in my mind. My laboratory is outfitted with some very nice cameras, and I can use those to capture some of the things that I see in the natural world. This is one of my favorite things to do. I love taking pictures. And one of my favorite things to take pictures of is birds. Does anyone out there like to go birding? I love to go birding. You know why? It actually combines three things that I greatly enjoy: hiking, birds, and photography. Well, I mean, except the geese, right? I still like taking pictures of geese, don't get me wrong. But, like, if I hike off into nature somewhere and all I find are geese, I wouldn't be very happy. Okay, so would you like to see one of my favorite birds? We're going to do the same thing. We will clear your minds. We will all take a deep breath together. And then I will try and summon us one more image. Are you all ready? Okay, here we go. It's back to working every time now. I'm really glad that Tani stopped whatever she was doing. Okay, this is a bird called the elegant trogon. And what a beautiful bird, right? I saw one of these birds when I was birding in Arizona a few years ago. And it's a pretty big bird. And it's got these bright colors, and, it just sat there, and it let me take pictures for as long as I wanted. And I took a lot. So let's see, what can I tell you about the elegant trogon? They have a very unusual mating habit. The males will climb inside of an old woodpecker hole in a dead tree, and then it will call to the females, inviting them in. Yeah, it's a good strategy. There's just a tiny, tiny sliver of the United States where the elegant trogon migrates to, and it only comes during the breeding season. And it's just the bottom little part of Arizona. and it happens to draw birders from all over the place in the US. I mean, I went there for other reasons, but I definitely stopped to find the elegant trogon. Okay, so this is an example of something that we will probably talk a little bit about in our lessons this semester. Something about birds. Let's learn a little bit more about birds, right? Okay, let's see. We can stop thinking about the elegant trogon for a minute, and I'm gonna do one more of these things from my favorite things list, and then maybe I'll take some questions. I know you've got lots of questions, and it's hard for me to keep up with all of it, but I'll try and answer a few of them. And if you asked it before and I didn't see it, just ask again. It'll be fine. Okay, everybody, we're going to clear our minds. We're going to take a deep breath. And we're going to try to just see one more thing. Are you ready? Ah, yes. Gorgeous. Very, very nicely done, class. Okay, this is a memory that I have of one of my favorite national parks. I love the national parks. This is the turquoise pool at the Midway Geyser Basin in Yellowstone National Park. I went to Yellowstone National Park. I've been there so many times. I must have gone to Yellowstone 15 times or something now. Sometimes for research, sometimes with other students, sometimes with, friends. Let's see, let's talk a little bit about Turquoise Pool. While it may look like a place that you'd want to hop in, take a little dip, it's very picturesque. It's actually a hot springs. And if you just dunked your little toes in there for a second, what you'd find is that the temperature of those hot springs is actually somewhere between 60 and 70 degrees. Yes, I know. Some of you don't use metric. Let's see, that's like 145 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So hot, not the kind of hot you'd want your foot in. It's pretty close to boiling. Anyhow, this is one of my fondest memories. I just love going to the national parks, and we got to Prismatic Springs, which is nearby, and the sun was starting to set. And well, anyhow, I'm just so happy to be able to share something like this with you. If you were to go and actually take a sample of the water from the turquoise pool, what you'd find is, well, amazing microorganisms live there, even at those crazy temperatures. Well, again, maybe this is something we will talk about sometime during the semester. I really need to get on with probably answering a few questions. And, well, I know this is the first day of class and everyone usually just wants to grab the syllabus and leave. But let me say that I need to thank a few people. So let's see. We'll go back to my lab. And yes, here they are. First of all, I want to thank my fellow faculty. First of all, Miss B. She's our math teacher, if you don't know. And then there's Tane, with the charged up air around her head thing blocking our view of bugs. She teaches languages. And then there's Aki. She's our coding teacher. And truly, these fellow faculty are a delight to work with. And I'm excited to be taking on this job at Spirit University. Second of all, I'd like to thank a lot of the people who helped us get to this point, and I think they deserve to be praised. First of all, I should probably thank Bobber, WCC, for developing some concept art, associated with how I look, and also our website for Spirit University, which is spirituniversity.info. Also, I would like to thank Jammy Jam KK. They apparently did something called modeling and created this model art. Also, I would like to thank Graylith and Malin. They also made some modifications to the model design. I should also thank somebody named Vortec DZN. They did all of the Spirit University logos and graphics. Also, let's see, we started off our stream with some really nice meditating music. And, well, you can see right there, Naoya Sakamada was involved in the creation of that. Yes, okay. So let's see. Class, if you have some questions, I will see if I can try to answer some of them now. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. My question is a doozy. What's it called when water looks shallow but is very deep? Lake Fontana in North Carolina has a town under it called, you guessed it, Fontana. Just curious. Let's see. When a lake looks shallow but is very deep, I'm guessing that's an optical illusion. It probably has something to do with the properties of light refracting through the water. I don't know. I've actually never been to North Carolina, not in any meaningful way. Let's see. Oh, there's another one. Let's see. What is my research focused on? Well, I study mostly tiny organisms. Tiny organisms of all kinds, really. You know, for the class, we do stuff that's a little bit different than what I actually do for research. And I mean, that's okay, right? We could learn about things that aren't necessarily what I do for research. But if you wanted to find more out about me and my research, you could check out my Twitter handle, which is Diatom's Attack. Yeah, that's where I hang out and, you know, publish papers, whatever. Sometimes I show people pictures of things that I'm working on. And sometimes I do some of the research streams on Twitch. So if you're interested, you could check it out there. I usually don't show up for those. I have somebody else do all of the camera work and stuff. But, you know, for work purposes, I can't show my face there. Will we do experiments in class? I don't know. If you have ideas for experiments we could do, perhaps. I think most of my focus is going to be on biology and maybe natural sciences, unless people have some really interesting experiments that we could manage. Probably that won't be the bulk of what we do, but maybe in our office hours away from class, we could try to do all kinds of things. What's my opinion on spiders and bugs? Well, I like bugs. We already talked about that, right? Bugs are very interesting, and spiders are even better. You know what I like about spiders is that they can sit very, very still. And sometimes when I'm taking a picture, that's super useful to me to have it sit still, right? So I can get very close. One of the things that I found about bugs and spiders is that people are afraid of them, but most of them are pretty harmless. And, you know, if you're careful and you don't bother them, they usually leave you alone. Let's see. Why are you teaching biology when you have a degree in geology and geoscience? Or are you teaching general science? Well, this is a good question. My degrees are in geology and in geoscience, but maybe you don't know a lot about geology. It actually requires that you know a little bit about chemistry and a little bit about physics and quite a lot about biology, in fact. Most people don't think about paleontologist as being a geologist, but it's definitely a geologist degree. And I study microorganisms. They're just ones that leave fossils behind. So, you know, lots of people who are geologists actually study biology and or ecological principles. But in our classes here, we'll be talking about all kinds of things, not just geology or biology. Let's see. Why can't I drink the water at Yellowstone National Park? Well, I've been to Yellowstone National Park. I'm guessing you don't mean the kind that comes out of the fountains or the plastic bottles, but the water at Yellowstone National Park is usually very hot and kind of toxic. It's filled with all kinds of things that come out of the underlying volcano. Yes, you shouldn't drink out of a volcano. I think that's just a bad idea. Let's see. This guy, the bear, this is a very clever question. Why can't I eat the drywall at my local hardware store? Well, have you tried paying for it first? Because, I mean, I think once you have it, you can do whatever you like. But the drywall at your local hardware store is made out of gypsum mostly. And I don't think that most people are going to want to eat gypsum. I mean, it's soft, but it's not delicious. Let's see. Moth migration. How often do they occur? Wow. I think that really depends on the species. You know, moths are pretty interesting organisms. We're going to talk a little bit about moths and butterflies for sure in the course. Oh, do you think that the drywall tastes like chalk? Well, that's interesting. Chalk is actually made out of calcium carbonate, which is a little bit different. It's constructed from the bodies and skeletons of little tiny nanofossils that used to live in the oceans. And, well, I mean, it shouldn't taste like gypsum. They're totally different minerals. Let's see, what else do we have for questions? You know, all of these questions that are here might also be good things to ask during office hours, right? If you have something that you're super interested in, you know, that'd be a good time to ask. Let's see. Here's one of the questions: how versed am I in marine ecology? Well, I have friends who study marine ecology, and we will definitely be looking at some microorganisms from the marine world at some point this semester. We'll talk a little bit about trophic interactions and basically how they function, you know, through the course of the course. Yes. Let's see. What else do we have for questions? Let's see. Which set of ears do you listen from? I don't know what you're talking about. I only have one set of ears. I'm a human, right? Let's see. Do you like water bears and tardigrades? This is a great question. I love water bears. And in fact, we'll probably be showing you some water bears under a microscope sometime this semester, maybe multiple times this semester, and we can talk all about them. They're fascinating. Do you know what's interesting about water bears? They've lived through all of the major extinction events in the history of the Earth, and that makes them pretty special. They're interesting for geologists and also interesting ecologically, which is why I'm fascinated by them. Water bears and other types of microorganisms that we might find we'll be able to look at in a microscope, and I will be able to show you things about the microscopic world that will amaze you, I'm sure. Let's see. Why is it not possible for a 10 magnitude earthquake to occur? Well, this is a very technical question. I feel like maybe if we were going to do a session about earthquakes, we could. But this isn't a question and answer period about science, and I don't want to get into the technical aspects of, you know, tectonic processes on the first day. Let's see, any more questions? Maybe we'll do a little bit more of my favorite things for a while. Yeah. Why do I permanently know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? I'm going to guess it's because you were listening that day in class. You should always listen in class. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to the lab and, yeah. we're going to do a little bit of this sort of exercise again. I'm going to try to clear my mind and let's think about, oh, I don't know, maybe bugs again. Ha! There you go, Tane. Bugs again. Ready? Ah, yes. It worked. Let's see a few more really interesting bugs. Sorry, Tane. This is what's known as the Great Golden Digger Wasp. I think they are gorgeous. You know, most people think that wasps are dangerous, but the solitary wasps, the ones that live on their own, they're all pretty passive. They really don't hurt people very frequently. You know, what's interesting about the golden digger wasps is that they are hunters, and they capture things like katydids and grasshoppers, which are larger than them, and they bring them back to their nests, and they feed them to their babies. This one, as you can see, let me get very, very close. And you know what? I wasn't afraid of them at all. I was less than, say, maybe 5 inches from this one. You know, in centimeters. We were real close. Okay, so let's maybe do one more bug as long as we have the shields down from Tane's brain. Yeah? We'll go back to the lab. All right. And we'll do that thing where we focus. We take a deep breath. Ah, what a way to end. That's just perfect. Don't you think that's great? Look at this little guy. Huh? Ah, yes. This is the orange sulfur butterfly. Those bold, bold colors. It looks just great, doesn't it? Let's see. What do I have for interesting facts about the orange sulfur? Yes. Besides being pretty, the caterpillar of the orange sulfur butterfly, it mostly eats on peas. And yes, they only feed at night for some reason, which is very weird. You know what? I think Aki is basically the same way. Her whole power charging cycle seems to be nocturnal. Yes, well, let's see. We're getting close towards the end of class. We had planned for, you know, a relatively short time today just to do the introductions and to get to know me. And, well, I guess if you have any more questions about me, you could go ahead and ask them. Why are they called golden digger wasps? Well, they actually dig holes in the ground, and that's where they bring the prey back to. It's kind of interesting. They capture them live, and they keep them trapped until their juvenile offspring are ready to eat them. You still think parasitic wasps are scary? Well, I don't. They never scared me. Yes. Let's see. I just read about a bacteria that can photosynthesize from the infrared glow of hydrothermal vents. That's crazy. Well, fox crossing, that is crazy. Hydrothermal vents are a pretty interesting place. And, well, we are definitely going to talk a little bit about hydrothermal vents sometime this semester. It just seems like a great topic. Let's see. Where did I get my tie from? Well, unfortunately, I don't usually like to divulge my sources for things like this. Let's just say a friend bought it for me. And, well, I have another tie. I'm going to have 2 ties probably all semester long. Eventually, the other one will make an appearance. I think whenever we do outdoor streams, I probably shouldn't be wearing the lab coat, if you know what I mean. It's nice to see everybody, and I hope you've had a good time listening to us tonight for the debut, and you're gonna come to see our first lecture, which will be on Thursday night. And hopefully you'll stick around for all of the lectures. I think our first math lesson is actually going to be Miss B on Monday. And I'm very excited to see what she's going to teach us about. I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a very, very fun night for me. I don't normally like to talk very much about myself, but, in this one instance, I sort of made an exception. And most of the time, let's try to focus on the science, I guess. All right. Well, it's about time that maybe we brought back the spooky music. And then I guess we'll see you all later. Well, check in with us again. Stop by on Thursday evening for another live session. And my office hours will be on Friday evenings. So if you have questions and you want to drop in and ask them to me, or if you have some ideas for things that we could talk about in a future lecture, you can go ahead and drop in. We'll be pretty casual on the nights of office hours. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight, and we'll catch you later, right? All right. Well, for now, that's it. Goodbye.